10 names, 10 paths to power. We don't excuse history, we examine it. Timur did not rise from peace, he rose from collapse. From a world already broken by conquest, betrayal, and unfinished empires. From the ruins left behind by the Mongol Empire. This was not an age of stability. Central Asia was fractured. Borders shifted constantly. Old empire survived only in name, not in control. Power existed everywhere. Authority existed nowhere. Timur was born in 1336 near the city of Kesh. He was not born into royalty. No crown waited for him, no throne was promised. What Timur inherited was proximity. Proximity to war, to ambition, to men who ruled by force and lost everything just as quickly. As a young man, Timur lived among warriors. Raids were common. Violence was routine. Survival depended on loyalty, speed, and timing. In this world, strength mattered, but strength alone never lasted. During one of these early conflicts, Timur was wounded. The injury never healed. The limp followed him for the rest of his life. Enemies mocked it. Rivals underestimated him. History would remember him by it. But the injury did not weaken Timur. It refined him. Timur learned early that power was not about appearance. It was about control, about fear, about structure. He watched how leaders rose and fell. He studied why alliances failed, why armies collapsed, why empires disappeared the moment a ruler died. The Mongol legacy still dominated the region. Genghis Khan was gone, but his name still carried authority. Lineage mattered, bloodlines mattered. Even when real power was absent, Timur did not belong to Genghis Khan's bloodline. He could not claim the title of Khan, so he adapted. Instead of claiming legitimacy, Timur borrowed it. He ruled in the name of a puppet Khan. The title existed. The control belonged entirely to Timur. This was not deception. It was calculation. By ruling through accepted tradition, Timur reduced resistance before it formed. The old order remained visible. Power moved quietly behind it. Timur became commander, judge, and executioner. Every decision passed through him. Every victory carried his signature. His campaigns were not chaotic. They were deliberate. Each movement calculated, each conquest designed to send a message. Cities were warned in advance. Messengers arrived before armies. Submit, and you will live. Resist, and you will be erased. Some cities surrendered immediately. Others tested him. Timur made sure the lesson was unforgettable. When resistance occurred, punishment followed without hesitation. Entire populations were killed. Towers of skulls were constructed. Not as madness, but as communication, fear traveled faster than his armies. Reputation opened gates before soldiers arrived. From Persia to the Caucasus, from Mesopotamia to India, Timur advanced step by step. In 1398, Timur invaded India. Delhi fell. The city was looted. Its wealth was taken. Its population paid the price. The destruction was severe, deliberate, unforgettable. Yet destruction was only one side of Timur's rule. When campaigns ended, Timur returned to Samarkand. He chose the city as his capital, not for defense, but for legacy. Architects were spared. Scholars were relocated by force. Artists were gathered from conquered lands. What was destroyed elsewhere was rebuilt in one place. Mosques rose, madrasas expanded. Monuments were constructed to last. Samarkand became a symbol, not of mercy, but of control through order. Timur believed an empire must terrify its enemies and impress its subjects. Fear maintained borders. Culture maintained loyalty. By the end of his life, Timur ruled one of the largest empires of his age. It stretched across much of Asia, but it rested on one man. There was no system strong enough to survive him, no successor capable of replacing him. When Timur died in 1405, the structure weakened immediately. The fear remained. The order did not. The empire fractured. Control faded. The legacy endured only in memory and stone. History remembers Timur as a contradiction. A destroyer and a builder. A man of culture and massacre. This contradiction is not an accident. It is the design. Because power does not ask to be loved, it does not seek forgiveness. It only asks to be obeyed. Timur's rule did not rely on love. It relied on predictability. People understood the rules. Submission meant survival. Defiance meant annihilation. There was no confusion about consequences. This clarity made resistance rare. Not because people agreed with him, but because they understood him. Timur believed uncertainty was weakness. Fear had to be consistent. Punishment had to be visible. That was how order was enforced. When cities surrendered, they were taxed and controlled. Local elites were monitored. Rebellion was prevented before it formed. Timur did not trust decentralization. Power had to remain close. Decisions had to be immediate. Governors ruled only as long as they remained useful. The army remained loyal. Because reward followed obedience, loot was distributed carefully. Status was earned through service. Timur did not build institutions. He built dependency. Everything led back to him. This made the empire strong in motion and fragile at rest. As long as Timur lived, the system worked. When he moved, the empire moved. When he stopped, it waited. In his later years, Timur planned even greater campaigns. China was his next target. Another empire to test. Another legacy to dominate. But the campaign never began. In 1405, on the road east, Timur died. There was no transition plan, no uncontested successor, no shared vision. What followed was inevitable. The empire fractured. Generals turned inward. Regions broke away. Fear could not rule on its own. Samarkand remained. The monuments endured. The memory survived. But the structure collapsed. Timur left behind. Stone, blood, and silence. Some remember him as a patron of culture, others as a butcher of cities. Both are true, because Timur did not see contradiction. He saw necessity. Destruction created obedience. Culture created legitimacy. Together they sustained power. For a time. History does not offer simple verdicts. It records outcomes. Timur's outcome was this: an empire built on one will cannot survive its absence, and that lesson did not end with him. Through the Vortex lens, we don't simplify history, we examine it.